Hello, District 56. Well, we are so glad you guys were with us today to get our opening ceremony reposted because some of y'all didn't get to hear it, and we are so happy about that. I want to introduce our speaker today. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Rose Williams-Bradford.
Thank you, Carol, and good morning, District 56 members, leaders, and guests. Today is May 1st. Yesterday and this morning, we had April showers. So today, let's give out some flowers. Let me first share that, unlike other spring conferences we've held, we will only be recognizing a few individuals today. The bulk of the awards and the recognitions that will be acknowledged, and there are many, for this year will happen at the end of the year celebration later this summer. I will share that awards that are presented will be available at the 2 scheduled bookstore pop-ups on May the 8th and May 15th. Gifts are nice, they're rewarding, and they're forthcoming. But right now, I take a moment of personal privilege to acknowledge 3 outstanding Toastmasters who have been instrumental in keeping me on track and technically equipped during this term. They have all been patient, kind, and so accommodating. They are stellar at what they do, and I believe they are some of the angels assigned to me, at least for this season in my life. I give special accolades to my administrative manager, Distinguished Toastmaster Robert Bailey, and Webmaster Harold Idoux. I am indebted to you guys and blessed to have you on my team. Thanks for all your support and the care you've given me and the hours you devote to ensure District 56 is in good hands. Additionally, I am blessed to have the best finance manager anyone could hope for. She's poised and elegant in speech. She's thorough, detailed, creative, and expert in her field. The girl has skills I could only dream of. I used to spend hours ensuring the numbers matched and flowed correctly from month to month and from budget to profit and loss statement. I still review them, but I no longer feel compelled to have papers stretched all over the floor to make sure she has it right. Not only does she have it right, she has the narratives or the explanation to support every entry. Thank you, Ray Ann George, Harold Idoux, and Robert Bailey for taking this journey with me. Now, let's move on to the annual awards from District 56. One pause. In the 1987-88 term, District 56 began recognizing members whose leadership contributions made a significant impact on our district. These awards have become a District 56 tradition and are awarded annually by the District Director at the Spring Conference. There will be 4 given this year. I'll first give the basis of the awards and then the recipient of the award. I would like to share a PowerPoint screen, so just give me a moment. I do apologize. Let's share my screen. One second. Do you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. The first award that I want to talk about is the Spirit of Success Awards. And I need to be on the right one. Oh, Jesus. All right. I am having difficulties. 1 second. Let me start over. The first award is the District 56 Spirit of Success Award. It's presented in honor of Bert Mann. Bert was a District 56 governor and international director who continued his commitment to Toastmasters long after he had achieved his personal Toastmaster goals. During his 42 years as a Toastmaster, he contributed his knowledge, experience, legal expertise, and maintained regular attendance at club and district meetings as long as his health permitted. He was a continuing mentor to individual Toastmasters as well as to district officers. The award will be presented to a District 56 Toastmaster who exemplifies unselfish service after year on behalf of Toastmasters. This year's award will be presented to a Toastmaster who went above and beyond despite personal commitments. He stepped out of his comfort zone and took up the mantle to ensure continuity in district leadership. Recognizing there was a learning curve to overcome, while still committed to those personal obligations, he made the effort and put in the time to serve with excellence. In addition to prior district service, for years, he's been a mentor to many within the district who struggle with interpretation at times because English is their second language. For his service to members throughout the district and leadership to members and leaders in Division N, it is my honor to present the 2020-21 Bert Mann Spirit of Success Award to Distinguished Toastmaster Jose Antonio Betancourt. Let's give him some accolades. The next award is the Standard of Excellence Award. The District 56 Standard of Excellence Award is presented in honor of David Abel. A standard of excellence was a minimum quest for David. As District 56 governor and parliamentarian, David inspired and challenged everyone to their highest level of performance. The award will be presented annually to a District 56 Toastmaster for exemplary achievement in either personal performance or performance of assigned district responsibilities. This year's recipient is a quiet giant. She's very creative, very skilled, and very soft-spoken, yet knows how to get things done effectively. She has been actively engaged at the club and district level. She has proven to be a good follower and a great leader. For the perfection you bring to every assigned task and willingness to undertake more than your share and overperform while doing so, it is my pleasure to present the 2020-2021 David Abel Standard of Excellence Award to Distinguished Toastmaster Fatima Jones. Next is the Achievement Award. The District 56 Achievement Award is presented in honor of Susie Gormley. Despite the depth of her physical distress, Susie maintained an active role in Toastmasters, culminating with her term as District 56 governor in 1982 and 83. She inspired all Toastmasters through her unfailing positive attitude, smiling and caring manner, passion for excellence, and her devotion to helping others succeed. This award is presented to a District 56 Toastmaster who, despite adversity, continues to regularly attend meetings, maintain leadership, and participate in Toastmasters activities. This year's award will be presented to someone who has done just that. Willingly served District 56 with a big smile on her face because she believes in having fun and she believes in loving what you do. Since her short involvement with Toastmasters, she has made significant contributions throughout the district and encouraged others to do so because of her contagious joy and love for this organization. She has helped grow several clubs, served as a personal mentor, club coach, unofficial coach. She served on club growth team, the program quality team, the conference team, and as an area director twice. This year, in spite of the COVID challenge that we've all had, including herself, she has faced unbearable health challenges, but yet maintained visits to our clubs and timely submitted her visit reports. I don't know how she smiles through all the pain, but she does. It is my distinct honor to present the 2020-2021 District 56 Susie Gormley Achievement Award to Distinguished Toastmaster Samantha Traylor. Lastly, the Lone Star Mentoring Award. This award is presented to the Toastmaster who makes the greatest difference in the lives of others by supporting leadership through mentoring leaders. This award will be presented to someone who loves to see others succeed, who loves to be in the background, teaching, training, nudging others to success. One who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. This individual laid the foundation for members and leaders throughout the district, provided needed resources, mentored through processes, then stepped aside to allow for their personal growth and development. For profound dedication in mentoring leaders and members, I am proud to present the Lone Star Mentoring Award to Ms. Camille Morales. At this time, those are the extent of the awards that we will be handing out on today. In this particular platform, the remainder of those awards will indeed be given at our year-end celebration, as I mentioned earlier. Thank you. This will take me straight into the next segment that we're going to be working with today. Just 1 second as I get there. Every year, we have opportunity to recognize individuals that we feel have done outstanding work in our community. This world is filled with amazing people inside and outside of Toastmasters. And so our organization recognizes that fact and has made provision for each district to recognize individuals who have made a significant contributions to their community through communication or leadership. This year's recipient has done both. She is someone who has been making her voice heard since she became an adult. As a communicator, before graduating from law school at the University of Houston, she began advocating for women who felt silenced, trapped, and alone as they fled from violence in their home countries. Additionally, she has been a professor at both UH and Thurgood Marshall Schools of Law, teaching students how to use their oratory skills to help others. As a leader, she has served on several boards and committees, served as Director of Immigration Legal Services for the YMCA, was the inaugural Executive Director of Tahoe Justice Center, resuming her advocacy for those without a voice, and growing that startup nonprofit with a staff of one attorney, herself, and a single assistant, to a thriving office of 7 lawyers and 8 full-time staff. She currently serves as the Executive Director of Houston Volunteer Lawyers, which is the pro bono legal aid arm of the Houston Bar Association. I first met her in 2011 or 2012 when ExxonMobil began a collaboration with Houston Volunteer Lawyers and the firm of Norton Rose Fulbright to provide free legal advice to Houston area women's centers sheltered residents. Early in this collaboration, the need for immigration consultation became obvious. We reached out to Tahoe Justice Center for assistance, and their executive director showed up. The next month, she returned, and the next, and the next. The collaboration was quickly expanded to include Tahoe. This is one of the reasons why she has been described as someone who has a mind for the law and a heart for service. District 56, it is my honor to introduce you to the 2020-2021 Communication and Leadership recipient, my friend and a silent hero, Ms. Ann Chandler.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me today? Rose, I appreciate that introduction so much. And what a better day than this rain to virtually be with all of you today. So I want to start by sharing the actual award, and that I couldn't choose a better time in my life, really, to receive this amazing Communication and Leadership Award. As we emerge, quite frankly, out of a frightening time, at least for me, as in this pandemic. I know we've lost and worked with many of our loved ones who have had an incredibly hard time. I have to be honest that when Rose called me to share with me this thrilling news that I would be receiving this Communication and Leadership Award, the first images that came to mind were not moments where I kind of stood up to the challenges of the year, but the first moments that came to my mind were times where I was walking with a great amount of self-doubt. I found myself turning inward. The familiar space of leading and being present in community centers and domestic violence shelters and courtrooms and conference rooms weren't there. And without that traditional gift of that physical proximity to someone that I think had been my platform for success, I was just like taken back. How do I work from home? What do I do with these screens on my computer? I felt unsure of myself. And I felt myself withdrawing, kind of in a cocoon from both personal relationships and professional relationships. And it happened to be at a time when the pandemic hit that I had decided professionally to leave that organization that I had spearheaded in Houston and had grown to such a success. And I asked myself, what kind of brave leader says, hey, it's a time of pandemic, we're going to have major financial problems, and this is when your brave leader says, I'm off to another adventure. But that's what I did. On March 9th, I told my team that it was time to turn over the reins. I felt that it was a moment where there were incredible leadership from those that were working around me, and then it was time to go on to a new venture. And so I went ahead with that decision, and then paused really to take a 2-week trip to Colorado to decide, how can I really rewire my circuitry in my brain to kind of move with the pandemic in a time that I felt like when Hurricane Harvey hit and Ike hit and other disasters for our country, I felt like I really was at the forefront of what is needed. How do we organize ourselves? how do we listen to those that are most impacted by the situation and find professionals to come together to provide critical resources. So that's what I did. I took out sketches of paper, I wrote task lists, I identified webinars I was going to listen to, and came back with really a hope and an aspiration to hit my new job with incredible power. And so receiving this award, I reached out to 4 or 5 colleagues that I had the gift of working with in the pandemic and asked them for some feedback of, what are some things that I could share with about myself over this last year with you all today. And what they thought, it was, characteristics of myself that gave me some leadership capacity to really bring great forces for justice. And so I thought I would take those notes from those conversations and share a few of them with you today. I think one has been fortitude to take risks and do things that aren't always the easy things to do. I step back in time to think about when I was in law school. And I have to say, while I did enjoy the academic kind of challenges, I definitely was not, how can I say, on paper I looked great, but there was not an energy and a spark that I felt that I had kind of found myself. I felt overwhelmed, and is this really the space where I need to be? And it wasn't until I got an email about an opportunity for students to go to the border during spring break that I really found my barriers and got my feet on the ground. But what the opportunity was to serve immigrant children that we read a lot right now in the news, a lot of unaccompanied children coming over from all over the world who find themselves at our borders saying, please, can I come in and can I have help? And so I recognized that there were law students coming from all over the United States to the US-Mexico border. And I figured, here we are in Houston, why aren't we there? So I approached the dean for some funds because we were all borrowing money to make our way through law school. We didn't have the $400 for the hotel room and the gas money. And our dean helped support us. And we started going back and forth to Harlingen, Texas to help individuals in detention. And one of the cases I was able to work with was a young girl who at age 13 was walking to school and had been taken by a man who used to be in the military, and he sequestered her to his basement as his personal woman or young girl for about a year and a half. And she was caught there, and when he would leave during the day and not be harming her, she would sing and to keep her spirits up and hope alive. And one day somebody heard her singing and investigated a little bit and soon found the home and her family where she had been taken. This man was a very powerful man. The family was scared and told her, you need to leave this country immediately and go to the United States and don't come back. And so on her journey through Mexico was at the time of the Chiapas rebellion. She was caught by the Mexican authorities 26 times and returned back on the border, but she continued and hit the US border and recognized that now she has a trial in front of an immigration judge. There's a seasoned attorney kind of fighting for her deportation, and she's not assigned any professional to help her in that hearing. So those were the type of cases that we were handling. And so was able to assist her in that case and return for her 15-year-old birthday party to kind of see that, while that moment was so intense and that the girl that I had represented after those really 2 years of horror in her life, just in a short time of a year and a half, had really blossomed and become this giggly, fiery child who was had learned English and had incredible plans of pursuing a life to be a nurse, which she did. And it was from that experience that I realized, oh my goodness, all I have to do is turn law into something where I am able to use my passion for really lending a hand to someone who's not able to navigate a legal system. And I'm going to find great joy. And so after several jobs, I finally found myself back being hired as a law professor at the school where I attended. I also had the ability to work summers at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And in this immigration clinic, I would tell individuals that my neighbors, my family, the parents of my children, that I absolutely had the dream job, an opportunity to coach and mentor law students who chose to take an immigration clinic, which really meant about 3 times the hours and effort for one course. And with the only reward being is to, tune in on legal skills that'll be incredibly important for their career and to help lift up the life of another. And so this was my job. I loved it. It also was a 9-month contract, which, if you've ever tried this profession and parenting things, you often feel as a parent, oh, you're failing at both. And those were common feelings. So at the university with a 9-month contract, I was off technically and able to spend precious summer months with my children. But what I realized is being in an immigration clinic with law students, being able to scale resources to have very high quality representation to individuals who needed help through our immigration legal system, that we started seeing about 10 times the request for legal services that we and law students specifically who were just beginning their careers were able to help. And I remember one incident where the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI turned to me to see if I could assist a group of human trafficking survivors. And there were about 114 survivors who had been injured by what we called the Madrigon brothers, were 2 brothers who owned restaurants and bars, cantinas in Houston that had a profit model of where, for every beer that was purchased, they would also buy a beer for a young lady who would be the company and drinking partner of that individual, with at the end of the evening opportunities to purchase young females. And these brothers would recruit young teenagers and adolescents out of Central America, saying, come to Houston, I have a restaurant job for you, and you will be able to live a life with dignity, and showed pictures that were false of these wonderful restaurants. And what happened is when they arrived here, they learned that they had to work off an incredible amount of debt. And the economics of working that debt was, they had to pay and live in one of the buildings where these brothers would put them. They had to pay for their own medical care. If one of their cousins, they would recruit family networks. And if anybody that they knew escaped from the ring, that person's debt would be added on to the individual. So fast forward 10, 11 years, some of these girls were still working in these really horrific situations with incredible damage to their livers and other body possibilities, and were terrified of getting out because of real threats and actual violence to family members that did threaten to leave. And so in this situation, I recognized, well, no problem. I'll find other nonprofits who can take these clients. And if, living in Houston, this just doesn't exist. And so I quickly found that really my full-time job was trying to call every graduate that I had ever taught, every colleague that I knew, how would you like to take a case? And so it was from really my side job that I decided to hang up my hat and say goodbye to those lovely summer months and join the Tahereh Justice to try to scale and build a structure of volunteers, lawyers to help not just 30 clients in a given semester, but to try to take on 300 cases at any given point. And so at Tahereh, as Rose said, we did what we could do. We, with a mission of helping individuals who'd suffered domestic violence, sexual assault, modern day human trafficking, female genital mutilation, rape as a tool of war, acid burning, fear of honor killing. And unfortunately, the list of violence that we see against women, girls, or individuals and the LGBTQ population really goes on. And I learned that, you know, while violence takes a particular shape in the United States and in Mexico and in Central America, it is in every grain and quarter of this planet. It looks different, it expresses itself differently, systems respond differently, but it is an incredible issue that I do not believe that gets the time and the understanding of the complexity of why we are so violent to one another in our homes, in our communities. And it's something we have to address. But what I also learned is that the legal structures, whether that's the immigration legal system, our protective order system, our divorce, our tax system, these legal systems do not have the bandwidth or are not built to provide the type of support that survivors of violence need. And there is nothing about our legal system that is really built upon a concept of having seasoned attorneys helping two parties make their way through complex laws. This completely breaks down for individuals who are fleeing a situation of violence and frequently don't have the economic resources and wherewithal to make it through. And so at Tahare, we really took a three-legged approach to change. One was addressing our laws in Texas. You know, kind of with horror, as we saw a lot of child sexual assault. I recognized, both working with the district attorney's office and the prosecutor, that they can't prosecute a 40-year-old man who's raped a 15-year-old girl if they get married. And once you get married, there is no rape case. And we pulled the statistics of how many girls enter into childhood marriage in Texas, and it just made your chin drop. And I know there's many reasons. There's love. There are a multitude of reasons why children get married. But I can say from our incidents, there was also a lot of situation of trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence. And all it takes in Texas as of 2017 to get married was one parent to sign a piece of paper. And so as we talked to the court clerks who gave the marriage license, what we learned is that, you know, the girl could be writhing on the ground saying, no, I don't want to do it. And there's no judicial approval. There is no ad litem attorney, designated for the girl, but it was just literally one signature. And so we took on issues like childhood marriage and worked in a bipartisan way to restructure the laws. And as Rose said, we got a team of over 1,400 attorneys who were committed and volunteered their time to take cases and represent individuals. In immigration specifically is where we worked in most of the legal area, and recognize that our immigration laws in the United States just haven't been amended. Congress has turned its back, regardless of your opinion of how many people should be in our country and who should get in. The laws completely are stale and have to be revamped. And what you see is a lot of, from one president to another, creating executive law that isn't real law. They're not statutes. And so the result of that is that it is often incredibly difficult for individuals to win cases because the statutes and the things that we're working with are really outdated. And so traditionally, we're individuals who are seeking asylum based on violence they've occurred in their home country. The approval rate on these cases is, under 30%. But at Tahare, when we would ask, a medical professional to help document the case, volunteer interpreters, and a law firm to spearhead the case, we were at about a 98% approval rate for the cases that we litigated and handled, which was really astonishing. And I would meet volunteers and speak to the husband of one of the volunteer attorneys, and he said, you know, he took us to Guatemala and he told us that we were doing it to study anthropology and have our children look at the things, but really he was going to the police station to make copies of the domestic violence report because he couldn't get them if he didn't show up. And you know, I'm going to send you the bill for our vacation. And I would hear one story of another of really attorneys when they're volunteering and doing this type of work, the type of legal advocacy that we're able to get in a certain case so far exceeds what a staff member who's got a huge caseload is able to handle. So it was incredibly joyful to see the quality of advocacy that Houstonians and legal professions. I still think it's completely fine to make lawyer jokes. We need them, they are appropriate, but I do have firsthand accounts of really hundreds of attorneys going above and beyond to help individual who they soon became to see as their neighbor and their friend and their sister and brother. It was quite beautiful. And at one time I was working with this woman from a country of Eritrea where I didn't even know anything about Eritrea before I had the opportunity to work for Tahirih, and acknowledge that we went up, I don't know if you've been to many of the Houston law firm downtown conference rooms, but they are like museums. They are gorgeous. We're talking marble, glass. I'm like, I don't know who the architecture is, but I want them to be my friend. And can they help me with my kitchen remodel? And we had one client come up and she's, you know, hadn't been on an elevator, gets off and she walks and kind of looks at us like, am I really in the right place? And the receptionist, who's just beautiful, reaches her and says, hey, miss, and says her name, we've been waiting for you. I'm so glad you're here. And through her interpreter, she looks at me and she says, this is the first time in my life where power has been on my side. You know, and I was like, you're absolutely right. You know, power really is on your side in this case. And, you know, it is because, you know, Houstonians, and I believe many individuals go to law school to do justice and to fight for the underdog. But we have to create an infrastructure where really that can be made possible in the daily work. And that has been, you know, such a joy. And I'm only successful at what I'm able to do because I'm able to live and work in this kind of magical space where I see so many individuals who are spending most of their time on the real estate transaction, a merger and acquisitions, oil and gas, take on these incredibly difficult cases and put in just hours of love and time to help somebody from a very different culture. And so during the pandemic, I recognized, geez, this is an opportunity to move the Houston Volunteer Lawyers, which is the largest really pro bono organization in the state of Texas, to really address many of the needs that we're seeing in this last year. I think at the top of the list is evictions in Harris County. Unfortunately, we are a county that is nationally known for not slowing the pace significantly of evicting individuals, despite a moratorium put in place by the Trump administration and extended by the Biden administration. And so it's been joyful to put together attorney of the day programs and try to scale justice. Once an individual gets an eviction, we find that that can be a lifetime barrier for the ability to rent an apartment and avoid that cycle of homelessness. Similarly, there has been nothing kind or good happening in the area of child abuse and domestic violence during the pandemic, as people feel isolated and resources are short. So we've been able to scale up our response there. So my two themes, and I'm talking. Let me slow down and kind of wrap this up. But I think there's so many reasons and qualities that individuals have that make them a tremendous leader. Mine have really been good fortune of pausing to respond to emails and to have found an area that brings such incredible joy to me. And second, I think a humility is there are just so many things that I am bad at. I mean, when certain tasks are on my plate, I mean, I just get overwhelmed, deer in the headlights, and think, how do people do this? And I think I learned from a mentor really early on that, like, oh no, you are only going to succeed when you spend most of your time supporting, helping, and providing a structure of success for those that you're in a team with. And so with that advice, I have usually succeeded by not getting in the way of how teams, I think, really organically figure out what is it that we're trying to achieve and how are we going to get there together, and how can we really build upon each other, encourage one another, support one another, pick up what's falling from one another. And it was the magic of really the individuals that I was able to work around and support, and kind of that early advice of saying, and it's completely fine when you're not great at things. Just if you spend most of your time supporting and encouraging others around you and your leadership skills, you will get there. And so really in complete honesty, that has been a lesson that at Houston Volunteer Lawyers, it seems to be working, and that one that I continue to remind myself of that if I give and pause and spend most of my time on coaching, we'll get there. So with that, let me pause and say again how grateful I am to receive this award, and say thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ann Chandler. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Rose.
I also want to give accolades to Nancy Mercer for being our host to make sure Ann had the knowledge that she needed.
Yes, thank you, Nancy.
It is now my pleasure to address you as your outgoing district director. So fellow Toastmasters and district leaders and all esteemed guests, every journey has a beginning and an end. I remember the first time I attempted to speak in front of a church congregation and how pathetic I was. I recall finally crossing the threshold of a Toastmasters meeting in April of 1999. And I sat through that entire meeting and no one acknowledged my presence coming in or leaving out. But I joined for me. I needed help and it was a convenient location. I also remember how pathetic I was giving my icebreaker. Yes, I truly needed help. And that help came in the form of a small 5 feet or less white-haired lady named Miss Carla Pope. Carla is the equivalent of our Pam McCowan or Diane Nino. She invested her time and resources into me and others in the club who wanted to succeed. She labored with us and allowed us to lean on her until we gained the confidence to stand alone. She taught us how to be club leaders. I will forever remember that one lady who reached into our lives, mine, Naomi Alvarez, Martha Elias, and a few more. And she taught us how to construct and deliver our speeches and how to lead our club. Because of her investment, we are still alive, active today rather. It's a good formula. It's the one I call reach one, teach one, keep one. Just like back then, it only takes one person to make a difference. Carla did, and I determined to pay it forward for that and many other reasons. So after being in my first club and serving in multiple officer roles, I learned that every club had district leaders assigned to them. There were area directors and division directors. Well, I was very active. I was a club officer. I don't know how I always missed those visits, right? So it was the lack of quality support at the club level and the opportunity to make a positive impact, one person at a time, were the flames that ignited my passion to serve at the district level. That flame remains lit and is why I believe, here we go, in district and area councils. I believe they make a huge impact within our district if we embrace it collectively. When members connect, share with one another, obtain support and guidance on a consistent basis, it matters. When I coined the phrase, members matter most, it was from this passion to provide excellent service to members in clubs throughout the district. When members are satisfied, I believe, they stay engaged and they share and bring others into their clubs. My goal was to reach out to members, old and new, as a club growth director. We were blessed to charter over 20 clubs that year. They weren't all sustainable, but we were successful. During my year as program quality director, my focus, of course, was training, and experiential learning was in high gear with Carolyn and Rhonda. Contest season was going well until life changed for all of us. This year, serving as district director, for me, my theme was going to be keep on. This was retention, retention, retention. But instead, we received COVID. Even in the midst of a COVID pandemic, Chandler and his team charted 7 clubs thus far. Joe and her team have trained over 900 club members round 1 and over 800 round 2. And we've lost a lot of clubs, but we'll keep moving forward. We'll keep reaching out, we'll keep teaching, and we'll grow our district with sustainable quality clubs. New club members with whom we will strive to communicate, collaborate, and stay connected with for years to come. We can do this with area councils, where we connect at least one officer from one club to another club. We can do it with division councils that foster camaraderie and shared learning with leaders throughout the district. I strongly believe in councils as a catalyst to help reach members in our clubs so they know it's all about the member, so they know that they matter. The drive to personally make a difference began in what I saw in Carla Pope, but it grows stronger all the time as I observe my surroundings and embrace the gentle guidance of giants like Pam McCown, Cheryl Warren, Kathy Kess, and my buddies Carolyn and Rhonda. Now I'm blessed to walk amongst excellence as Robert Bailey, Joe, and Chandra make me look good. Our numbers are down, indicating we've lost many clubs. But what we didn't lose is integrity and our respect one for another. We didn't lose the ability to serve many times. Let me say that again. We didn't lose the ability to serve. Many times, nights and days merging together without a break. Right, Joe? We didn't lose the desire to operate in excellence, as shown in the website that was built and the awesome resources it retains, the online trainings offered this year, in the long man hours and research Harold Eaton provides to anything he's asked to do. My term is almost up, but my vision is very much alive. Charlotte knows that members matter most, and from that we can't help but rise. So as I conclude, I express my sincere thanks and gratitude to all of you who so willingly served with me this year. I appreciate your support, your kind words, and your commitment to District 56. To our Eagles, Pam McCowan, David Rebellas, Monica Rose, Cheryl Warren, Marcia Hudgens, Pat London, Jose Bettencourt, and Nancy Mercer, thank you, thank you, thank you. Joe will mention the awesome teams who organized this conference and who will manage the speech contest, but know how grateful I am too. To the SMAC team, sponsors, mentors, and coaches, thank you. I hope you will form relationships that will last a lifetime. Thanks for reaching into the lives of members in each club. To my amazing cabinet members, Rashmi, who's so diligent about spreading compassion throughout the district, I so appreciate and thank you for taking on this task for me. Special shout out to Jennifer. Jennifer is so accommodating and a pleasure to work with. And I know she works full-time and she's finishing her doctorate so that she's finishing up the paperwork for her doctorate, but she always makes herself available for whatever we need. Thanks, Jennifer. The required audit and the alignment reports were smoothly done because they were led by men, all men. who formed teams and do what men do. They took care of business. They dotted those I's, they crossed those T's to ensure the reports we send to headquarters will stand the test of time. So thank you, guys. Kathy Kess, thanks for an awesome job with the District Leadership Committee and for the great team assembled to take on the mantle, our incoming leaders that will help us as a district soar to higher heights. Terry, Harold, Avi, and Amish, wow. And Jonathan, Laura, thank you so very much. We have thrown a lot your way and you've met the challenge each time. Thank you for not voicing your thoughts out loud when I would call or send you another thing asking you to do something. No way to finish without acknowledging Chandler and Joe. They need, and I ask that you give them a round of applause. Thank you for your love of District 56 and Toastmasters, for your commitment and your expertise, for going above and beyond what should be asked of anyone, yet you do it with so much love and patience. Love you much. I'm indebted to all of you, and I thank you for helping make lemonade out of a boatload of lemons that was dumped on us. But hey, we're District 56. We're not afraid. We remain Houston strong. At this time, I will now pass it on to our program call director. She has something special for you. Joe?
Thank you, Rose. Your leadership journey has been truly remarkable. It's been an honor to serve with you. Good morning, District 56 dignitaries and guests. I hope you are enjoying our first free virtual spring conference. You heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Fellow Toastmasters, it takes a village to organize and host a spring conference. I cannot thank our 100+ volunteers enough for signing up, then stepping up into various roles and filling the gaps where needed. There are 42 committee chairs, presenters, and facilitators alone. Then add in 20 committee members. And finally, your technical support, judges, and functionary roles. I have witnessed teamwork at its highest point and most rewarding area. We have not one, but two past international presidents, Clark Doley and Jana Barnio. Our Region 5 International Director, Mohammed Kalim, and our very own godmother of District 56, Pamela McCallum, supporting us every step of the way. Having the opportunity to learn from these inspirational leaders is truly a gift. At this time, I would like to spotlight those individuals that went above and beyond to make this conference a success. Our first appreciation awards for outstanding and dedicated services go to our co-chairs. Leading the charge was none other than past Distinguished District Director, Carol Caraway. Carol? If you look at Carol's profile, you will see one of the things she learned to say early on is, yes, I can. I didn't even have to ask if she would be a conference co-chair. Carol, you may want to remove yes, I can from your profile. All kidding aside, Carol spent tirelessly hours coordinating, organizing, and delegating to pull off District 56 best virtual conference ever. Okay, it's the first, but it's still the best. Thank you, Carol. Our other conference co-chair is Elizabeth Ruiz. And Jennifer, if you could also spotlight Elizabeth, that'd be great.
Madam Director, she's not on the call.
Okay, thank you, dear. Well, Elizabeth doesn't have yes, I can in her profile. She always says yes. Case in point, we had a registration and volunteer chair vacancy late in the planning process. Elizabeth quickly minded the gap, and she said she would take on these responsibilities too. It's not like she had papers due for her last semester on PhD, area director duties, or any of her other club officer responsibilities. Just simply amazing. The Shiny Penny Award goes to Stacy Wells. Is Stacy on the line? If you could spotlight her. You can hide for so long. The cat is out of the bag. Stacy stepped up to the district challenge, creating an incredible Let's Talk speech contest with Yolanda Bryan. It was an amazing video. You could see the flower within blossoming. On to the next challenge, 2 or 3. Stacy created the banner for Club Banners video, our spring conference program, the minute by minute, and our lecturing book. Yes, Carol, I know you helped along the way, but there's our shiny penny. Thank you, Stacy, for allowing us to see you shine. Our next 2 rock stars are a 1-2 punch. Yes, that's because they're sisters. They are always trying to outdo one another. Can anyone guess who that is? Yes, it's our very own Zoom masters or Zoom wizards, Jennifer Golan and Melissa. Woo! Yay, Jennifer! Jennifer strives to exceed our members' online expectation, while Melissa will say she just lets Jennifer think she's playing that role. Right, Jennifer? Regardless of the fierce competition, they are besties and have done an awesome job behind the scenes. Thank you, Jennifer. Our third tech rock star is Chandler Munagavalasa. Chandra has done an incredible job building out the Hoover app, organizing Zoom rooms, and mitigating technical risk. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to hear this from me first. Jennifer, Melissa, and Chandra are being inducted into the District 56 Technical Hall of Fame. I'm sure they will be presenting their acceptance speeches in a Toastmaster club near you. Our Best Video Director Award goes to Carolyn Charney. Is Carolyn on the line? If you could spotlight her. She has done an amazing job editing our opening ceremony video, taking session photos when you least expect it, and assisting with other video and photography tasks. The best part of being a video director, according to Carolyn, she's able to stay behind the scenes. Carolyn thinks that nobody can see her, but we all know where to find her. Right, buddy, old pal, old friend? Yes, I need a favor. Many thanks to our district chief judge, Donna Fossmeyer, district contest chair, Keith Romaine, contest chairs, Toastmasters, judges, ballot counters, and timers. We are looking forward to our district speech contest. I wish I had the opportunity to spotlight every volunteer. It really takes a village to put on a spring conference. Thank you to all the volunteers who have made this conference possible. You are simply the best. I know we normally wanted to spotlight all individuals. I do not see them on the call. We will have to get their group photos later. Now is the time for my incoming speech. To me, Toastmasters is not about the destination, but the journey. We have been on a crazy journey together, right? Over the last 14 months, COVID-19 has deeply impacted us professionally, personally, and as Toastmasters. My biggest takeaway is how resilient and fearless our members are. You stepped up to the plate and met challenges head on. We encountered so many firsts together. First virtual speech contests, online club officer training, online leadership electives, virtual district and club meetings, and now our first virtual spring conference. The relationships and district achievements earned is just the start of things possible. I have been asked, why do I want to be your district director? Some would say my mama dropped me when I was a baby. In all seriousness, each Toastmaster leadership position, starting at the club level to my current program quality director position, has been a building block for success for the next level. Becoming your district director is not something I sought out to do. It found me through progression. I wholeheartedly believe in service above self. Being able to finish what I started, including another first of transitioning back to in-person and hybrid meetings, is my distinct honor. Trust, I will give you 110%. My triple E vision, expand, educate, and evolve, focuses on expanding the gift of Toastmaster to new members and clubs. Witnessing Toastmasters become a better version of themselves is what drives me to serve you. Educating members to quench your thirst for knowledge by providing quality training and resources to grow and learn together. Evolving by developing District 56 programs, standards, and processes while all sprouting into better versions of ourselves. As your district director, I will effect changes through new approaches, technology, and documentation, yet be mindful and respectful to our Toastmasters tradition. I will support our amazing incoming club growth director and program quality director to continue to cultivate our district and deliver quality, effective club officer and training sessions. I will challenge our past leaders to continue mentoring our next generation of leaders. It takes our entire District 56 family working together to accomplish our mission. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. I seek your support. I challenge members to step up, whether in their clubs as officers, in a district role as an area director, or in various committee roles. I love the quote, individually, we're one drop. Together, we're an ocean. Let's work together to raise the bar even higher. Together, anything is possible. Back to you, Carol Caraway.
Thank you, Joe. What an inspiration both you and Rose are to this district, you guys. We are so lucky to have you both as leaders for District 56. I can't wait for
Carol, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Thank you both for those inspirational moments. You guys are the best district leaders, and you guys will continue to be the wonderful people and the leaders that you are now in the future. I want to close this section out and tell everybody, I want you to go out and see these humorous speech contests, have a fabulous time at the conference, and just give a big round of applause for our leaders who are leaving us this year and coming, and those that are coming in for next year, and to our wonderful, wonderful conference committee. You guys rock.